Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Samsung Galaxy Note 8, priced at a little under $1,000 US. You're looking at arguably, in my opinion, the best smartphone ever made. Of course, the Note 7 before it appeared to be exactly that until Samsung had to do a mass recall because of overheating/exploding battery problems. But here with the Note 8, we have a new and improved design, some slight tweaking over the S8 Plus, of course, pen integration, a secondary camera, things you'll all see when I get this thing out of the box. And for those of you wondering why I did not get this unboxing up sooner, it's simply because my shipment was delayed because of Hurricane Irma. For those of you that follow my channel, you already know that back in October, Hurricane Matthew, that was last year, of course, destroyed the home that I had moved into all of 3 months after moving in, and I had to rebuild, start over, and well, I'm finally back in. Just a little over 1 month, and then along comes another hurricane. Not that I'm complaining, because thankfully everything went as well as could be. So survived, and you're looking at the first video being shot in what is now the rebuilt studio. So if you recognize the table, that's because I was able to repurchase this, for those of you that are wondering, and really start from scratch, but also bring back some of where I had started all of a year old, in terms of, because that's how old the studio was. Now, in terms of features, or at least contents, let's start with that. Inside the box, you're getting the Note 8. You're getting a pre-installed SIM card, which I will not be using. I've got my own already with unlimited data from Verizon. You're getting a wall USB charger, a micro USB connector, stereo headset USB connector, a quick reference guide, and of course their terms and conditions. Beyond that, let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box. If you were a Note 7 purchaser, this is the 64 gig version, by the way, in the midnight black color for Verizon. If you were a Note 7 purchaser like myself, who had to go through the whole return process, Samsung does have a great promotion, in my opinion, going on, where you can trade in your current phone and get up to a $425 credit against the purchase of your new Note 8. So while the Note 8 may be the most expensive phone on the market right now outside of the brand new iPhone, which this kills, I can tell you that already. iPhone users, you can drool, but this thing is a game changer. The new iPhone, oh great, it's got wireless charging. Get really excited. Welcome to 6 years ago. But here we've got a 6.3-inch Super AMOLED display, 2960 by 1440. So this is without hesitation the best display in the business. Also, the largest with normal proportions. And you can see in my hand, it doesn't look like a freak show, and that's the beauty of this. It does have the edge screen, a glass body. We have dual cameras now, which I really like. This is something I was waiting for. Excuse the lighting, things aren't perfect here yet. As I said, the studio is just in the process of getting rebuilt and just dodged getting destroyed. We have a rear camera that's 12 megapixels with a 2x optical zoom, something I've really been waiting for. And then we've also got a wide-angle 12 megapixel camera. I think we're looking at about 45-degree field of view here, and somewhere in the 70s, like 75, 77 on that one. On the front camera, we have an 8 megapixel shooter. I believe they're all f1.7 aperture, I believe. So good cameras all around. 4K video capture, of course. The S Pen tucked away right here at the bottom of the device. USB Type-C charging. We have wireless charging. The speaker is located at the bottom of the phone. Type-C charger, your headphone jack. And in terms of other things you should be aware of, you've got your power button and volume rocker right here. Power button on the right side, volume rocker, and not even sure what the other button is. We have a fingerprint scanner, lest I forget, right here. Not the best place. Samsung's been getting some slack for that placement because people are saying, well, if I have it in my hand, it's not so easy to reach, but I don't know. Unless I'm going crazy, it seems like it's pretty easy to reach. And I certainly don't have gargantuan hands by any means. So seems like, for a 6.3-inch display mobile handset, they didn't do a terrible job in placing that. The flash, we'll see how well that performs. With that said, let me go ahead and try to power this up and take you through the rest of the contents of the box. So there we have it. I'm going to put it down, let it go through power up. Let's see what else we have in here. I mentioned the contents, but let's actually see. So there we have our ejection pin for the SIM card, which I will be using. Some paperwork in here that I'm not going to screw with. Our wall adapter is now black. Samsung making a statement. I don't know if they make matching ones according to the color that you pick. This is running the Nougat version of the Android OS 7.11, I believe. For those of you that are curious, we have our micro to Type-C adapter, as well as our host to Type-C cable adapter. So those are included. These are the same things that came with the Note 7. And then last but not least, we have our charging cable, headphones, extra pen tips, the pry tool. There's the pry tool and the additional pen tips right there. We have the charging cable, as I just mentioned, right there. And I believe this is, yeah, these are the headphones. Now, they are AKG. Samsung's been marketing this along with the launch of the Galaxy S3 tablet that I covered earlier in the year. One of the best tablets on the market, no question about it, if you still need a tablet for media consumption of different types. But clearly a phone like this, for many users, is all they're going to need. And that's because this thing is simply, I mean, it's a work of art. I mean, everyone, granted, where I live now, I don't have access to nearly as many electronic stores as I used to once upon a time, but every person, I don't care, you know, if they were Apple fans or not, they look at this and they say, wow, you know, how did they do this? How did they get such a large screen on a phone that you could still palm without an issue? And really, the camera, for me, is one of the most impressive things because I've been waiting for an optical zoom. Granted, the sensor size is nothing crazy. Just to have as, you know, on the go, I would never substitute this phone, or rather this camera, for a real camera. Anyone that follows my channel knows that I'm pretty big on the photography end of things, so I would never rely on this. But as a backup to have in my pocket when I don't have something like the RX 100 Mark V, this is a really big improvement. Now, the battery in here is 3,300 milliamp. That's been a very big point of critique. You know, it's smaller than the battery in the Galaxy S8 Plus. Why did they do that? Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, would I like a larger battery? Sure. I'll see how it actually performs, though. The SIM card slot right there. You also have expandable storage. I should have mentioned that 7.5 minutes ago. Up to 256 gigs. It does also come, if you pre-ordered it, with the option of the Galaxy, the Gear 360 camera, which I already have. So that was, you know, not the most ideal, but I knew someone that wanted one, so I went with that. You can also go with a micro SD card and charging dock if you so desire. But overall, build quality, fantastic. Screen quality, I already know is going to be great. I will go through activating, and I'm not doing that right now. Again, I literally spent my day cleaning up from a hurricane for the last 2 days and surviving it because I did actually stay. No commentary necessary. But I wanted to share this with all of you because the Note 8 is, in my opinion, going to be the phone of 2017. I know the iPhone is right around the corner, but it's still playing catch up, especially now when you have a device like this that, you know, it's not just the S8 Plus. I mean, anyone who tells you, well, if you have the S8 Plus, stick with it. I understand why. You know, if you don't need the pen, I get it. But if you're a Note user, if you have been a Note user for years like I have, this appears in every shape, form, and way to be the phone you've been waiting for. Yes, the 3,300 milliamp battery. You still have that octa-core processor. And then you have 6 gigs of RAM also that I didn't mention at the top of this video. So in terms of a spec sheet, this thing is just a monster. And there's really, we have kind of hit a brick wall in terms of what phones are capable of. They all can substitute, light computer usage depending on your needs. And the Note 8 is just another step in that direction. I'll get into software and, things that Samsung has brought to the table with Bixby, which I'm not a huge fan of, by the way, and their TouchWiz overlay, which they could rename a million times, but TouchWiz is TouchWiz. But at the end of the day, again, the Note 8 looks and feels like the most premium phone on the market, and that's because it is. And boy, at a little under 1,000 US, it better be. So, of course, I'll be updating all of you more on this monster device, and I anticipate that a lot of people are going to be happy, and I don't expect any explosions. I mean, I really don't think Samsung could strike twice with lightning here on this one. And I think that's part of why the aspect ratio screen size changed also. I think that's another element. And believe it or not, as I step over, the Storm phone is still here. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. You can see I got messages from some people there, including my mother. I'm trying to make sure that I survived the hurricane. And a few other people, some friends. But yeah, I do still have a Note 7. So maybe I'll compare them, even though that's a comparison nobody really cares about. At any rate, hope you enjoyed the video. If you didn't, I don't really care. If you did, hit that like button. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. Later.